Shalom, salam, peace. Welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today marks an important occasion for us in the Abrahamic reunion, as while we have produced annual reports in the past, they have been relatively modest attempts. And this year, we think that we have really stepped up our game. And for the first time, we are taking the opportunity to present the report to you, our supporters, without whom none of this, of course, would be possible. So here's how today's session will work. First, we'll have our able administrator, Chris Akbar Miller, providing an overview of the annual report. And then we'll hear from each of our US board members. And my name is Hafiz Neil Rothenberg. I'm a member of the board. And after we hear from our US board members, we'll have an opportunity to hear from our on-the-ground peacemakers, Abed in Israel, Mohamad Jamous in Palestine. We'll follow that up with a message from our international director, Sheikh Ghassan Manasra. And then we'll have a keynote remarks from our board chair, Shahabuddin David Less. We'll then open it up for your comments, questions. However, we don't necessarily want you to wait to present your questions or comments, as we don't want you to lose them. So we certainly invite you to put those questions or comments on our chat board, and we'll start with the questions in our chat board when we start the question and answer period after our chair's remarks. And finally, we'll conclude the session with a closing moment dedicated to peace. So I'd like to take the opportunity to ask our administrator, Akbar Chris Miller, to present the highlights from the 2020 Abrahamic Reunion Annual Report.
So thanks everybody for joining us. I'm Chris Miller, been working with the Abrahamic Reunion since 2014, and it's just kind of amazing to see what has grown over the last 7 years of the organization working for peace. And I think that that's really evident by how resilient we were during the pandemic. So we created this report, the annual report, called Building Peace in the Pandemic. I hope, can everybody see that all right? Just let me know if there's any issues. And, you know, right off the bat, one of the first major things from this intro photo is everybody was, by and large, online. These are pretty much screenshots from one of our many incredible online peace building events that we held. And we actually had 44 different leaders present in our different online events, which was incredible. That was a whole wealth of new wisdom, perspective, and culture that infused into the Abrahamic Reunion this year. And this year wouldn't have been the same if we didn't have all of you. I mean, this is one of the biggest parts of last year, was being able to share the peace builders in the Holy Land with people around the world from so many countries throughout. From Japan, I know people came from throughout Europe, the Middle East, North America. We were able to hold 6 online cross-border interfaith youth meetings for the first time. We had an online interfaith iftar. Over 200 participated. You know, one might think, what can a people-to-people organization really do during a worldwide pandemic when there were mandated shutdowns, especially in Israel in the early days, and Palestine? People were not free to move. And we brought so many people together through these events. Over 2,100 participants, 22 countries, and then we had 252 donors from 13 countries support the efforts. The chairman's going to speak later, but his letter is included in the annual report. We've got our staff here, Sheikh Ghassan, myself, Mohamad, and Abed Manasra. You'll hear from the others later. And as well, our board from 2020. We have a new board member this year, Sarkar Harritt, who's with us today, who's not on the list, but you also have the board members from Israel and Germany, UK. You can see that 78% of our funding went to programs, spending your dollars, the supporters' dollars, on bringing people together, on programs and staffing for the events that are building change. We had our series of unity prayers, which continues this year. We've got 7 of them scheduled this year. The Taste of Peacemaking series, where we got to hear from youth leaders, female leaders, male leaders. I mentioned the cross-border youth events, the Iftar, and our multi-faith Christmas event in Bethlehem. In Christmas time, instead of having an event, we actually made a video and shared these greetings and this message throughout the world through the internet that way. This annual report has the core principles, and it's packed with information about peace building. You can find out how people view each other based on surveys. We've picked stats. You can see just how many people trust and don't trust each other currently, why this work is so desperately needed to bring people together so they experience each other, so they know one another, so they experience the other as a human being instead of as someone from the other community, an opponent, an antagonist. They can see that they're another person, another protagonist, another human being with real goals and relations. You can see that when women are part of the peace process, agreements are more than a third more likely to last 15 years. So incorporating female peacemakers and peace leaders into our movement is so critical. And you can read about how the AR really does its work. What is the theoretical framing for our programs in Israel and Palestine? And it's called the contact hypothesis, which posits what you've been hearing from us for years, which is bringing people together helps them overcome fear, helps them transform prejudice, distrust, hatred, to become friends, to grow trust, to be able to create the grounded framework that a real lasting peace actually needs to thrive. This is an incredible little write-up here that Michael, and was influenced by also Ira Harritt, Sarkar, our new board member. And then there's ways to get involved. So I hope everybody gets a copy of this online through the PDF. If we're happy to send them out by paper if you want a copy. And if you know somebody who's interested in the Abrahamic reunion, this is the perfect entree, the perfect thing to share with somebody, to introduce them to our work. So I hope this gives you a small idea of just how much, and I think they'll talk about that later, but the work was very hard this year as well. It presented all kinds of new challenges to grow, to learn, and to bring people together online in ways that we had never done before as an organization. We had never tried to have multilingual, cross-border, international, multi-faith prayers. I mean, there are so many different boundaries that are becoming bridged through this work. It's just mind-boggling and heart-opening. So really thanks everybody for being part of this, and I hope you get a chance to read this, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say about the last year. So thanks so much. And I think at this time we're turning it over to the board for reflections individually. So each board member will have a chance to share something, and I'll bring you up on the screen. So thanks everyone.
Hello, friends. I'm Hermione Garland. I've been a member of the board for the last 6 years. And the reason that I support the Abrahamic reunion is that it's not easy to make peace. We all know it. It's not easy to make peace in our families, with our neighbors, sometimes with our friends, in our workplaces. And in this small group of people, they've in a place where being different can get you killed or inspire hatred. These people have followed the instructions, each in their own religions, and found a mandate there to create peace. And they work together as a family. They have become friends. They go to each other's homes. They celebrate each other's joys. And for me, it's a living example of making peace. And it's a living example of how human beings are meant to live. So thank you, and thank you for being with us.
So I'd like to invite up Ted Brownstein from Lake Worth, Florida.
Greetings to everybody. I live with my wife in Lake Worth, Florida, and met the Abrahamic reunion in Salt Lake City at the World Parliament of Religion in 2015, and was immediately impressed with the level of diversity that the Abrahamic reunion has been able to collect friends. I know when I was a kid, we had a song about gathering our friends from the ends of the earth to lend a hand in the hour of birth of peacemaking, of building a new world. And so I know of no other organization that, I mean, when you think about the Abrahamic reunion, not only is it Jews and Muslims, but the variety of Christians, a whole range of Jewish groups and Muslim groups, as well as the Druze and the Bedouins and the Samaritans, and with an emphasis on gender equality among the different groups and the roles of the women and the youth and everything. And so it's really an honor to be a part of this group. And I've had many of these people in my home and doing music concerts locally. And there's a little following of the Abrahamic reunion on the East Coast of Florida, who will always show up if we have AR events, from our little interfaith network and other connections that the Abrahamic reunion has over there. So I'm really happy to be here today to report on a wonderful year despite the pandemic. I was especially impressed by our peace vigil, where we had daily gatherings during the crisis earlier this year. And it's good to see the Abrahamic reunion being responsive and ongoing as the situation develops. And I firmly believe that the only firm basis for peace is a spiritual basis. It's on forgiveness and the love of God, and trusting that history has a direction. There is a messianic age, or a golden age, or something out there where history is headed under divine direction, and the Abrahamic reunion is playing a role in bringing about a better world in Tikkun Olam and healing the world. So again, thank you all for being here. And I have to say to my friends on the AR board and other people, it's always a joy to work with you. And even when we have sticky problems to solve, we do it together. in unity and love, and it's a wonderful thing, beautiful thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Ted. And let's hear from Sarkar Harritt.
Good afternoon, or morning, or evening, or whatever it might be where you are. It's been my pleasure to have been invited to and join the board since last fall. So much of last year I was not on the board, have known about AR for many years. My background is having worked for a Quaker peace and justice organization for over 30 years. And so I'm pleased to bring that perspective to the AR work. One of the things that I became more and more aware of in that time of my peacemaking work was that getting to a deeper level of change, it was necessary. The forces that demonstrate for peace and justice are important, but as others have said, we really need a deeper foundation. And the AR building relationships between people help provide that. And also just changing the narrative and the worldview of the other as the enemy, and instead raising up the reality is that we must learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we are destined for a dark time. In any case, I believe that we have brighter times ahead of us, and it's again my pleasure to be part of AR to help build those times, and it's a joy to work with the other board members and the staff. So thank you all for being here and supporting AR, and I look for seeing you all for many years to come.
Thanks, Sarkar. And let's hear from Michael Macy in London.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that it's been a very humbling experience to be part of this adventure, and that I'm constantly in awe of the dedication, the courage, and the sense of joy that our people bring, that the Abrahamic reunion brings to the process of peace, and their living personification of the incredible power of peace. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Michael. And maybe we can have a word from Neil. Are you there, Neil?
Yes. I would just like to say, for me, one of the amazing things that happened in 2020 is with the advent of the COVID pandemic, it enabled us to solve what had been a major obstacle for our peace work in Israel and Palestine. And you may be aware that there are some incredible difficulties for Palestinians to enter into Israel. There's an onerous checkpoint and permit process. And as well, there are also difficulties for Israelis entering certain parts of the Palestine and the West Bank. And we realized that with the inability to meet in person, that meeting through Zoom enabled us to not have to worry about borders any longer. And we could bring together people more easily than we were actually able to bring people together in physical space. So that was something, incredibly helpful for us in 2020. I believe it will be continue to be helpful for us as we move on from the pandemic. And I also, can't say enough about the work on the ground done by our staff, Abed and Mohamad Jamous and Sheikh Ghassan. And we're as an organization We rest on the shoulders of those giants.
So thank you, board members. I don't know if Anna is here. Did Anna make it? Anna Less is also on the board, but she was running a little late. So we'll turn to those giants to hear about. First, we can hear from Abed, Manasra, our Israel Programs Director, about the reflections of working in the pandemic and the situation on the ground today.
Hey, salam alaikum all. How are you all? It's my honor to be with you and to share with you and to report to you all about our work, our great work, the Prophet's work. When you bring peace, it's the Prophet works. And actually, first of all, my name is Abdul Salam Manasra. I'm the son of Sheikh Ghassan Manasra. And I am 30 years old, but I spent this 30 years old inside house. I'm the third generation in this house. Then in all of our lives that we, all our work that to bring peace to this country, in the Holy Land especially, and all the world. Actually, I'm worked for the Abrahamic Union in two different periods, almost 6 years. And especially this 2 years, we developed very much and we made a lot of huge change in the fields, and our organization today, one of the very known organizations in the Holy Land and one of the most active organizations in the Holy Land. I will speak about our work during the pandemic time. And it was a very hard haul, first of all, for everybody, for all of us, that we are in area holds two countries. We have a border, as Neil said, and we close more and more and getting close more inside this during this pandemic. But we thank God that we have this Zoom to bring everybody and to see everybody and to continue holding our relationship with all of our brothers and sisters around the world. And we study a lot. We focused on youth programs, especially, and we have a long-term program for youth that we had a year. We studied prophets' stories and texts from the holy books to understand each other more deeply and to find our common sources, our common beliefs, and to find this message from God. We have reasons that he created all these nations, that he didn't create just one nation. And we have to find all these common things between us. And we worked a lot to study texts. And today, thank God, we have Israeli board members, very professional board members that have a long-term experience in our work, and they know exactly how to build more programs, more professional programs in awareness and schools awareness and programs for youth, for women, for families, for all the society dimensions. And especially that we have the chairman of our boards, women's, and this is a great thing that we have in the Holy Land. We're working very good, and thank you all. And we thank you very much for your support. This is a very, very important to keep us alive. Thank you very much from our.
Thank you so much, Abed. And now we'll turn to Mohamad Jamous, the Palestinian director, about how it was to work in the pandemic, your reflections, Mohamad, and what it's like to be there now, in Palestine and to make peace.
Assalamu alaikum for everyone. First of all, I'm very happy to be here with you. I feel myself like right now I'm in Jericho with my family. So I will start talking about our work since 2 years, since the start of the coronavirus until this moment. And there's very important things, very important news and very important points. So 2 years ago until this moment, like since the start of the virus until now, we completed our programs and meeting through Zoom. Just because that like we can't gathering here in Palestine or in Israel, in the Holy Land in general. So we had a very beautiful meetings. We held our meetings between the Palestinian and Israeli until it was like under the leadership of Sheikh Ghassan Manasra. We held every month like 2 meetings. It was one for the Palestinian Arab Muslims, Arab Muslims, Palestinian, and the other meeting it was for Jewish Muslims, the Christian, or the religions. So we held every month 2 meetings until this moment. And yes, my friends, dear brothers and sisters, we had a storm of challenges. We had a storm of obstacles, and we still have it. We still have it here in Palestine. We still have it in Israel. But despite these storms, we continue our work. We continue like our job. So the beautiful news, which is our goal was, it's how to bring these people together, how to educate them, how to find a new way, by building this bridge between us. So it was goal and is still our goal, which is to educate these people, educate this youth. And the most important thing, which is we will start to bring children together. All of us, that the children is the most important things, or like this generation, this small generation is very important during this situation. Like, let me share you that recently in Palestine, in Israel, we had the last war that it was for like 2-3 weeks. We had the virus, and we have bad situation which happened here in Palestine. So despite all of this situation which has happened here, we were talking about how to bring children together, how to educate these children together, because it's very, very, very important, So, and we were talking also about our programs, how to develop these programs by educational process through the Abrahamic reunion. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. These 2 years, okay, right now we had this virus and it was a closing for everything, but we had succeeded by our programs, by our meetings, that we succeeded how to bring these people together and how to find, like we were discussed together, how to find this new way that we could develop our work, because like we can't stay in the same level, like we need to raise our level. So alhamdulillah, we succeed. And there's many people which like they want to be part of the Abrahamic reunion. There's many people that they just wish to bring our program on the ground, like after the coronavirus. So as I said before, that we were talking about this new way that we could change these people. And let me tell you, or like let me share you, that after the last war, there's more hateness in the world. Let me talk about the Holy Land in Israel and Palestine. There's more hateness. There's more racism between the people. So our work is how to change this situation. How we can change this situation by talking with the people, by convince these people what is the right path, what is the right way. Because as I said before, if we still continue in our level, we can do like something more. But if we think together how to connect all of these people together and how to think what we can do, is there like any way, is there like new ways to do something, to do maybe some change. So one of this change, which is to bring children together. So I was talking with Abed, with Sheikh Ghassan Manasra for sure, like about this idea is inshallah very soon that we will bring these people together, Muslims, Christian, Jewish, all the religions in the Holy Land. So I want you to know that our work is great. Our work is fine, is very fine, despite the storm of these obstacles that we have here. But don't worry, you have a leaders in the Holy Land. You have a good people in the Holy Land. And thank you for your support. Thank you for everything. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Mohamad. Thank you. And we'll turn now to Sheikh Ghassan Manasra for the message from the International Director.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, shalom aleichem. I don't know from where to begin. They say everything, and I agree for everything they say. Then I don't know if to add something or not, but I want to tell you something. Do you know me? Do you know who I am? I'm Abrahamic Reunion. I'm that person walking under the sun to see everyone and to allow everyone to see me. I will not walk on the shade, on the dark. The peacemaker must walk on the light, and this is our life. As Hermione said, it's not easy to work in peace, but it's not difficult. It's a story of love. If you'll begin your romantic time with peace and with all the people, you will succeed to create your path and your way, and you'll succeed to be one of these big human family all around the world. I raised in Nazareth, the city of Jesus. I'm the man of Nazareth. I'm not Jesus again. I'm the man of Nazareth. I'm one of the disciples of Jesus and Muhammad and Moses and Isaac, all of the prophets and all of the people. I'm the student of all of the nations in this world because I felt myself since I raised in this land that I'm the son of all of the parents all around the world. And today I'm the father of all of the youth all around the world. These things give me the motivation to create lots of shelters of peace and understanding, connecting, knowing one another, or to practice the feeling of this big family. Or to do these things. I know both of them, they are so happy, emotional to say some things. Mohamad Jamous and Abed Manasra about their work because they are, as Neil Rothenberg say, and Akbar, the giants. They are the giants. They are our teachers. I'm studying from them how to be human being, how to create the support for them and for the new generation. I used to live there in the Holy Land. And we suffered a lot, not only me, all of the peacemakers all around the world. We suffered a lot from many things. Then you can find me a long time here in USA. I'm so happy for that. And I thank David Les Shabuddin for that and all of the board here that we are here safe and so. But I want to say something. They are so happy for their work. They are making, moving mountains. But believe me, they were shy to say something. They need your support. They need you to be part of them. They need you to be their parents and their sisters and their brothers and their sons. Both of them, they were their families, because they need to protect their families. They created many things to prepare the future for all of their families. I want to say something, what Abed mentioned, that we created a new organization, new board, a new NGO. This NGO, it's one of the greatest NGOs in the world, because the majority of this NGO, women. And as Abed mentioned, the chairmans, the co-chairmen in this organization, two women, two great leaders. They are our teachers, and we so happy they are the chairmen, because they can do better and more than us. You know, they are the leaders. And I want to say something. We have lots of projects. When I come to the meeting between Mohamad and Abed, I see them, they work in a very high professional way. They are really the giants. They are the heroes for all of us. And very important thing, they need you. And believe me, I raised as a peacemaker because my father began this, and I'm continuing, and Abed will continue. And believe me, Lulu, her daughter, she's a peacemaker. She likes peacemaking. She comes with us to the meetings. I want to say that it's very important for all of us not to leave them alone in that field. It's not easy to be peacemaker in the Holy Land. You know, during the pandemic, during the crisis of the political dimension. Thank God we have a new government now in Israel, and we have good connections. And soon you will see the result of our connection with all of the people. Soon you will see what we get from the new government, and what we got from the new leadership, Mohamad and Abed. They are great leaders, and I'm so proud to be part of their work and to be student for them and to be student for all of you. I have lots of things to say, but not today. And I feel if I'll open my eyes, you will read everything from my eyes as I read everything from your eyes. I love you so much. And believe me, I feel I'm part of you. I want to be part of you all. And don't let me be alone with these two great leaders. These two great leaders, they created a great big number of others. You want this much.
Thank you, Sheikh Ghassan. And we'll turn to David Less, the chairman of the board, for his message and some words about the future of AR, where it's going, what's happening now.
So greetings, everyone. Before I speak about the future, I want to say a little bit about the past. Maybe everybody on this call knows this story, but it bears repeating. In the year 2000, 21 years ago, some of my friends, my students, came to me and said, hey, we want to go to Israel. We want to really feel it now. It was the end of the 1900s and the beginning of the 2000s, a very historic moment. And I said, great, let's go to Israel. And I think there were over 30 people in the group who wanted to go. And I thought, well, I really haven't been in Israel since 1970, 30 years ago. Speaking about then, 50 years ago now. And I need some help. I know it would be naive and egotistical to say, well, I can lead you around Israel when I haven't been there for 30 years. So I called my dear friend, Eric Manelson, Akbar, whose brother is a rabbi in Israel, and Akbar spent much time there. And I said, look, could you come and guide the group? And he said, oh, I would be so happy. And month after month, we planned how we were going to do it and so on. 12 days before we were supposed to leave, I got a call from Akbar, and he said, Eric Mandelson, he said, hey, I'm so sorry, but I threw my back out. I'm laid up in bed. I can't move. And I said, there's 35 people. We have our tickets. We're going to Israel. What do we do? And he said, well, I know a guy who might be able to help. And I get a call from this guy. Who was it? It was Eliyahu McLean. Eliyahu's a great peacemaker in Israel. And I said, Eliyahu, can you guide us and so on? And I said, Sufis and people really interested in going deep, not just sightseeing. He said, of course. And we went and we met peacemakers. And out of that, traveling around and meeting these peacemakers, I realized that they were these beautiful people, but there was nothing really tying them together that was heart and soul. There was just the goal, oh, we need to do something, but really there was nothing that was the glue of love to tie them together. And so after meeting the peacemakers, 3 months later, I went back. And we began, with the help of many people, we began to bring people together. I didn't know the peacemakers. I appreciated them. I understood somewhat of what they went through because of what I did during the Vietnam War. And we began to know each other, and everybody said, yeah, it's beginning to feel like a family. And out of that, the Abrahamic reunion grew. But I want you to think, who threw out Eric's back? How did that happen? That his back was thrown out, we got together with Eliyahu, we got to meet all these beautiful peacemakers, and the Abrahamic reunion was born. Was it not really the universal intelligence that just tweaked everything a little bit so that what could emerge is what we have today? I'm not going to go over the programs. You've heard plenty this day. I'm not going to go over the bravery, really the bravery of our 3 human beings putting their lives on the line, their families, Mohamad, Jamous, Abed, and of course, Sheikh Ghassan. But what I want you to do, because this is really important, this is really the keynote. I want you to go with me ahead in time 100 years. So it's now 2121. And we're in the future. And everybody, not just in the Middle East, but everybody in the world, it knows the Abrahamic reunion. They know the great work that the Abrahamic reunion did and is still doing. Maybe the name has changed, the form has changed, but the real bringing together that attribute of God that is salam, shalom, peace is present. And we're starting it here. We're not the first. We go back thousands of years. We have a different label, the Abrahamic reunion, but peacemakers are always here. But we're doing something now that will change humanity. Nobody will know us as individuals. Maybe they'll know Sheikh Ghassan and Abed and Mohamad Jamous, but the rest of us, we're kind of an asterisk. But what we're creating together, all of us, everybody on the call, everybody doing the work, the whole family, what we're doing right now is creating history. We are creating the future. We are making a form in which peace can be present. So I thank all of you. I thank all of us I'm so happy to work with everybody and to feel the love and the blessing that comes through all of us. Who cares if nobody knows about us, but they will taste the fruit of the tree that we planted. Thank you, love you, bless you, pray for us. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll bring everybody up here for the Q&A. And if you have questions, I saw one question in the chat so far, but please just add your questions, and Michael's going to guide us through the Q&A. Or if there's no questions, just a conversation, I guess.
We do have the one question, and it was asked of Abed and Mohamad Jamous. How do you find the young people to participate in your programs? And Abed, if you want to answer first, and then Mohamad.
Yeah, sure. First of all, we had before 2 years, very small group of youth. And today we have a very large group of youth, more than 60 youth who participating in different programs. And actually, I will speak about experience in Jerusalem, that inside Jerusalem today, and after what happened in all the chaos that we went through, the position and the rule of this young people inside all this chaos, how they was only calling for peace and to calm down all the situation. All of them, they was all the Palestinians and the Israelis, young people who fighting. And today, all of them, they working for peace. They are soldiers for peace. I think they are changing, especially when they meet, when they speak to each other. They can understand, when they understand finally that they can understand the other and they can speak with the other. And it's a very, very great relationship between them today.
Abed, thanks very much. And Mohamad?
Yes, I'm here. So before I answer, I want to tell something. In the start of our meetings and in the start of our teaching, the Abrahamic reunion, they teach us how to sow, like I don't know, like if I said the right word, but which is like how to sow this faith in the heart and souls of this youth. So when we have, for example, like a program, and we have, for example, like 10 people, 15 people. So after these programs, believe me, by themselves, these students or these youth, they will keep talking about our organization, and they keep talking about our meetings. Like last year, for example, recently, and I had calls from many people from here, from Ramallah. And since I moved from Jericho to Ramallah, so I start to get new people, which is like Muslims and the Christian. And I was talking with them about this meeting. So I was happy because I found out that there's a few of them, they already know about us, and they already know, and they already heard about the programs and about the teaching and about everything, So when we have a program or like when we have a meeting, we tell these students about that. Like, for example, next month we have like a new meeting, but without we telling them this, they are already telling their family, they are already telling their friends, because what we do here and what we did and what we still do here is not a meeting. It's not just like talking and and go home. No, it's like something that you saw in the hearts, and like that something is saw in the souls of this youth, And let me mention something that I work for peace since 15 years, okay, and I was kid with Sheikh Ghassan Manasra, but like recently, and let's say like in the start of the virus, and when we had these challenges and when we had these obstacles here in the Holy Land, there's many people that they want to find solutions. So how they find solution? They find solution by by searching about organization that maybe they could make some change. So they are already heard about the Abrahamic Reunion, and let me tell you something, that the name of the Abrahamic Reunion in Palestine is very high. It's not like something small. It's like huge. So yeah, this is I think the answer.
Mohamad, thanks very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Chris, I think Anna has joined us, and it might be good to ask for her comments as one of the founding board members.
Sure, Anna. Let's see if I can. Do you have a comment that you'd like to add?
Actually, let me listen for a little while because I've just joined and I want to be in step with everybody. So let me, if that's okay, I'll listen for a little while and then I'll comment. Okay.
Well, does anybody have any other questions, comments? Do any board members have questions for each other or the staff? You'd like to say something here, or otherwise we'll move to the closing remarks. All right, well, Neil, I think that's you. So I'm going to bring you up, and thanks everybody for participating in this, and it's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. And as I said in my opening remarks, of course, none of this could be possible without our great supporters and the energy, the love, and the money and the funds that you give us to operate. So hopefully today will just be the beginning of an expanded dialogue with our supporters. It's very important for us to know what's important to you and to get feedback from you as to our activities and the direction that we're taking. We also are planning some, God willing, inshallah, some tours to Israel for our supporters, hopefully at the end of this year and certainly into 2022. And if you really want to get a sense of our work, please come and join us. And not only getting a sense of our work, you get to meet some really wonderful, loving, powerful people as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you all again for joining us today. And I'm going to turn it over to Hermione and Ted for the greatest part of our work, and that is manifesting peace within ourselves in order to spread that peace throughout not only the Holy Land, but the world.
So let's take a moment to come into our hearts and bring the breath of peace there, breathing in salam and breathing out shalom. In salam and out shalom, and imagining the bud of a beautiful flower As you inhale, that bud stirs and begins to open. And as you exhale, the flower more and more fully opens. Salam, shalom. And imagine that flower encompassing this small band of peacemakers, all of us here today, everyone in the Holy Land, on every side, touching every heart with the recognition of unity and peace. And may the fragrance of peace, the exquisite fragrance of peace, spread throughout the Holy Land and through the world. Amen, amen, amen.
Our hearts are certainly with all the peoples in the Holy Land, where the roots of our faith of many of us and our ancestral longings and grounding is in that holy space. But from this place in North America, we are also aware of the vast variety of peoples around the world and the universal aspiration for peace. So I thought being from North America would be appropriate to conclude with a Native American prayer. This happens to be from the Ojibwa tribe that's from Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ontario, Canada. Grandfather, look at our brokenness. We know that in all creation, only the human family has strayed from the sacred way. We know we are the ones who are divided, and we are the ones who must come back together, to walk as one in the sacred way. Grandfather, Sacred One, teach us love, compassion, and honor, that we may heal the earth and heal each other. Amen.
So thanks everybody for joining us for this remembrance and recounting in celebration of the last year of Peacebuilding. Feel free to stay for the photos, to chat, to greet each other. Made it so you can unmute yourself if you want to say hello or anything. Everybody, good afternoon,
Thank you.
good evening, good morning, good night.
Much love and peace, everyone.
Thanks very much.
Peace for you. See you soon, inshallah.
Peace to all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.